Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside the Boardroom. I'm your host, Mel Schaefer. Now, today we're talking to Callinex Mines. Callinex Mines is pushing forward on multiple fronts with a focus on critical metals, gold, copper, zinc, and silver across Canada's most prospective VMS camps. At the center of the story is the Point Leamington deposit in Newfoundland, along with an ambitious 2025 exploration program. From reinterpreting historic discoveries to leveraging modern geophysics, the company is aiming to unlock serious value. Here with me today is Max Porterfield, President, CEO, and Director of Callinex Mines. Max, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. Really excited to be here today.
Now, it's been an exciting year for metal prices, with a particular emphasis on gold's significant move. How has this impacted exploration companies like Callinex?
Well, certainly when you have a big move in underlying commodities, you've got to have a re-review of your broader exploration portfolio and really see how that impact on those metal prices impacts your overall business and what you're looking to achieve in advancing those projects. And in Callinex's case, while we've been advancing our very high-grade copper discoveries, which we're still very excited about in Manitoba, what's inherently happened is our Point Leamington deposit in Newfoundland has intrinsically become very, very valuable, much more valuable than it was before when we originally acquired it. If you take a step back, when we acquired Point Leamington in 2016, that was back in gold prices were roughly $1,250 an ounce. Copper prices were in the mid $2 range. Zinc was sub 70 cents. So you kind of get where I'm going at. And now with the big move in the gold price and Point Leamington, both in indicated and inferred, having a pit constrained gold resource of north of 500,000 ounces, that's had a big value add to that deposit. And so with that being said, as we move forward, we think we can add a tremendous amount of value at Point Leamington through a three-pronged approach, both with exploration in the deposit area, as well as making discoveries on a regional basis in proximity to Point Leamington. And then on the metallurgical front, really nailing down the right approach for the economic recovery for all those metals, copper, zinc, gold, and silver, with obviously an emphasis on gold, given that value of gold in that deposit relative to the other metals.
So Point Leamington certainly sounds like an exciting opportunity. How is Callinex planning to advance the deposit moving forward?
Yeah, so on the exploration front, if you look at the Point Leamington deposit, it's really been explored on a really shallow basis. So the deposit's a large near surface, it starts right at surface VMS deposit. It's been explored down to roughly about the 350 meter level as the depths of the pit. The resource that we have today is both a pit constrained and then an out of pit resource, with a majority of that resource within pit. So we see an opportunity to continue to grow that resource beyond the current known constraints of the Point Leamington deposit. If you look at exploration on the deposit, the last exploration at Point Leamington was done in 2004, and there was a lot of success in that campaign on growing the mineralization there, but it's really set quiet since that time. So again, we've got a team that's got a track record of success on the exploration standpoint as well as the development standpoint, and we're looking to execute there like we've done in other areas, both in New Brunswick and Manitoba, leading up until now our focus being in Newfoundland in the immediate future. Now beyond that, we have over 2,400 lines of airborne geophysical data that we reviewed, and we've staked some very exciting targets based upon that airborne data in geologic areas that have the same setting that would host a deposit like Point Leamington, where we think, again, we can discover more mineralization at Point Leamington and make other discoveries on a kind of more regional basis in close proximity to that deposit as you look at a longer term operation at Point Leamington. And then beyond that, on a metallurgical standpoint, metallurgical recovery of those metals has been very limited work done on that historically, really in 1970s, some in 1988, and then a very limited test work in 2014. And we're looking to really do a more robust metallurgical program to really refine the recovery of those metals. And again, as I mentioned before, an emphasis on gold with some experts that have got a lot of experience and a track record of recovery of gold in particular. So that three-pronged approach is how we're looking to immediately add a lot of value very quickly at Point Leamington. If you look at the deposit itself, it also sits within a mineral lease, so it provides for advanced permitting, just like some of our other assets across Canada.
So to follow up on this, with all these sort of moving pieces, it takes a really strong team to execute. Can you walk us through who's behind the work and why you're confident that they'll deliver?
Yeah, so our exploration team has obviously a track record of success. We grew our resource base in New Brunswick significantly at Nash Creek from when we started about 9 million tons of mineralization to 19.1 million tons of mineralization. Well, and then we immediately set our sights back in Manitoba, where we grew our Rainbow discovery, where we're now just shy of about 6 million tons of high-grade copper. And the only project within the portfolio that we haven't approached from an exploration standpoint is Point Leamington. When you look at the size of the deposit being one of the largest collectively at over 18 million tons of mineralization there. So we've also looked to expand the team, which we'll be announcing in the very near future on multiple fronts. On the geological side of things, in terms of exploration, we're looking to attract and have attracted a member of our team that'll be coming on that was critical in the discovery of the Point Leamington deposit. He's got a vast amount of experience since discovering Point Leamington early in his career on VMS, and so bringing him back on to add to what he's already accomplished at Point Leamington much later in his career is going to be very, very exciting for us. And as I kind of alluded to earlier on the metallurgical side of things, we've grown that team, and we'll be announcing that very soon with some key experts that have been very key and really revolutionized gold extraction within the industry. I'd say, one of the top metallurgical experts in North America, and we're really excited to add that as a key component, as we mentioned earlier, in terms of that's an aspect of our exploration and development focus at Point Leamington this year. So again, we've got a strong team with a track record of success, and we're looking to grow that team with even more skill sets to have more success as we advance Point Leamington moving forward.
It sounds like a really successful team. In terms of exploration companies, the area that you're mining in is also notable for its successes in Newfoundland, such as Newfound Gold and Firefly Metals. What makes the province such a great jurisdiction?
Well, Newfoundland is ranked one of the top 10 mining jurisdictions globally, according to the Fraser Institute. I believe they're ranked number 8. So that within itself says a lot, and it goes back to having the geologic pedigree is obviously critical if like Firefly Metals, for example, that's a VMS deposit. VMS deposits occur in clusters which make up these camps globally, no different than what you see in Newfoundland or in Manitoba. But on top of that, you've got a very, very supportive government and permitting regime that's supportive of mining. Mining makes up about 30% of Newfoundland's GDP. They've got a long history of mining in that province. And then, of course, which is why that's all there, you've got infrastructure that's been put in place because of that rich history. And that infrastructure is real key to reducing your upfront capital cost, as well as your operating costs and the energy side of things. In particular, Newfoundland also benefits from hydroelectric power and other clean power generation sources, which is great as you look at critical minerals and advancing these discoveries into a production scenario to have not only clean power, but clean, low-cost power is what also makes Newfoundland a great jurisdiction. So we're very, very excited to be in the province and welcome there. There's a great people of Newfoundland and a great country of Canada at a time that's very critical for this country and the province and the overall population, because these minerals are very, very key to the economy. And as the world shifts very dramatically, they're getting more strategic by the day.
It's very true, Max. Well, we'll be watching closely as Callinex ramps up at Point Leamington. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you again for having us. It's always exciting to be able to share our story on your platform with your organization.